You know, us British video gamers are sometimes pretty lucky being in the PAL region rather than NTSC. The PAL region GameCube, for example, was the only one out of all of them that had native RGB support right out the box. This meant that we could, and can, take advantage of RGB SCART cables and a compatible TV to really get the best possible image. And it didn't help much of the rest of the world that the other best way to get a really clean image, the GameCube component cable, is now so rare and sought after that they often go for hundreds of pounds online. However, there's now the option where you can use the digital out port on some GameCubes and connect it to your TV using HDMI. The problem with this though is that the adapters have typically been pretty expensive themselves, often going for over 100 quid. So when I saw one pop up for 55 quid, you can bet that I snapped it up so I could give it a go. Hello fellow gamers, and well, what's it like playing the GameCube over HDMI? So let's have a look at this little thing then. It comes in a pretty sturdy purple box, and opening it up it reveals a multi-language instruction manual, which is always useful. Underneath we've got a remote control, complete with a battery this time. A few people have said that they aren't getting batteries with these. But this is used to control the options available on the adapter. I'm going to be going over some of these a little later. Next to that is the adapter itself. It's got a cool and smooth metallic kind of finish to it. It plugs into the digital out port on the GameCube, so you're going to need an earlier model of GameCube in order to use this. And on the other side there's the standard HDMI port. That little blob next to it is the infrared receiver for the remote. And look, there's even more goodies. Underneath the tray they've even included a 4K compatible HDMI cable. Sweet! That'll come in useful for my Xbox One X. Anyway, I can hear you all saying, enough stalling. What's the quality like? First off, let's have a look at Wind Waker in standard definition. I use this game because it supports both the 50Hz and the 60Hz outputs. Those are the PAL and NTSC outputs respectively. This is what the 60Hz image looks like when I use a composite video cable. Those are the common yellow, red and white ones if you didn't know. This is what many of us are likely to have seen when we were using them on our modern TVs, unless you had an RGB SCART cable. And as you can see, all of the edges there, they're really soft. There's really quite a lot of colour bleed, and I don't know what it is, but I think with my setup everything's just a touch too saturated. Now let's switch over to 60Hz on the HDMI adapter through the digital out port. Now the difference is almost night and day. Everything's a lot sharper. The colours are a little more muted, they're much more natural, and there's next to no colour bleed. It all looks just so much nicer. And if you couldn't see it before, here's the side-by-side footage. You should be able to really tell the difference, unless you're watching this on a mobile. But what about on PAL, 50Hz, Europe standard? Well, you'll be happy to know it works with that as well. Here's another side-by-side comparison of the same Zelda Wind Waker intro screen. And even here the difference is very clear to see. Now the lower refresh rate you're seeing here comes with the 50Hz signal, it's standard with it, but the image is still a lot sharper, a lot cleaner, and overall much nicer to lay your eyes on. Now it's not just 3D games that benefit from this, 2D games benefit from it too. If we try out say Sonic 2 from the Sonic Mega Collection, you can see a huge difference on that as well. You can really see the individual pixels stand out rather than blending together like before. So what options do we have on this thing? Well, the adapter comes with a couple of options built into it for adjusting the picture to your liking, and you can change these at any time using the remote control. The first option is a line doubler, which does what it says on the tin. It doubles the outputted lines. I'm not going to bore you with all of the reasons why this option is here, but let's just say it stems from how video game consoles used to output the video on older televisions. They would often output only half of the lines on the screen in order to reduce pressure on the system and to reduce the input lag. This is why older games have scan lines in them. Using the line doubler fills in these gaps in order to get a slightly sharper image, but it introduces what's called a bobbed interlace effect, where the lines bob between each other in order to give the illusion of a sharper image. This does cause a slight flickering effect, but, well, if you're used to many PS2 games which also use this same effect, you probably wouldn't notice it. However, when you've got the line doubler enabled, you have the option to put those scan lines back. There are a number of options here for configuring the strength of the scan lines and how they behave, but using and configuring this is going to be down to your own personal preference. I mean, not everyone had the same television and not everyone had the same scanline effect. Introducing scanlines will naturally make the image darker as well, but it's a nice effect to have if this is how you remember playing these games back in the day. So, everything's looking pretty rosy so far, right? Get this adapter for your GameCube and all of your games on original hardware will look far better on your modern TV, right? Well, as true as that is with an asterisk. Certainly all the GameCube games I tried all looked a lot better, and even the input lag was reduced as well. Win-win! However, I've got to warn you, when it comes to using the Game Boy player, the picture isn't as good as you might expect it to be. Comparing the composite output to the HDMI adapter's output does show an improvement in the image. The colours are better, it's not quite so bright, and the image is a touch sharper, not gonna lie. But you can tell, can't you? The game is still rather on the soft side, it's not exactly perfect. Sadly, this is down to the Game Boy Player software. I mean, sure, the Game Boy Player itself houses actual Game Boy Advance hardware, that's why it's compatible with all of your games. But the software takes the image and it just makes a complete hash of it. No amount of hardware changes is going to make this look any better. So, if the Game Boy Player's software is so bad, is there anything that we can do about it? Well, for this, we're going to need to turn to unlicensed software, to Homebrew. Now, luckily, you don't need to modify your GameCube in order to take advantage of Homebrew software on the system. For the purposes of this video, I've been using the SD Media Launcher provided by Daytel. Thankfully, as they're located in the UK, and in fact they're only down the road from me, I was able to get one delivered really quickly. It uses one of the GameCube's memory card slots and allows you to run Homebrew software via a micro SD card. Once you have one of these, you can take advantage of some Homebrew software called the Game Boy Interface, or GBI. The GBI completely replaces the need for the original Game Boy Player startup disc, and it gives you a picture which is far and beyond the quality you can expect from official software. I'm just showing an example on the video now, and as you can see, the picture quality it's close to perfect, beautifully sharp and detailed. If you wanted to go down this route though, you're going to need to be aware that there are a couple of different versions of this software, and there are a couple of different options available. I'm not going to bore you with all the details now, but you can check it all out on the GC Forever website if you want to know more. So, in conclusion, would I recommend this adapter? Well, if you want to get a great picture out of your original GameCube hardware, this is hands down one of the best options at this price point. The only thing it doesn't offer, which the more expensive HDMI adapters have, such as the GCHD, is the ability to update the firmware. However, having said that, the firmware has come to a point now where it pretty much won't matter what game you throw at it. It's going to look and perform a whole lot better compared to using the standard composite cables. If you're a casual retro gamer that just wants a better picture from your GameCube, look no further than this. And with that, I'm signing off, so thanks so much for watching. Have you used any of these GameCube HDMI adapters before? Let us know down below in the comments. And as always, let me know what you thought of the video with a like and dislike down below, or even consider subscribing. And remember, stay at home, stay safe. I'll catch you all next time.